Coffee with the Summerland Kids. I'm your host, A.W.O.L Aaron, and Jerico Woggon is my guest host, hopefully becoming co-host soon. Good morning, Jerico. How's your
Good morning,
coffee?
sir. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. I got my casual Friday. This is my Summerland, official Summerland gear right here.
Sweet, sweet. I see you got your coffee.
Got my coffee. We're going.
I'm off cam right now because I don't got no light in my garage yet.
It's all good.
So we're just here having coffee. We thought of just, we've been meeting every Monday through Friday,
Monday through Friday.
and we decided to take it live.
Exactly.
So we this is a different format than my A.W.O.L Aaron Presents show. This is more of a talk show, a little more serious than goofing around and bringing a guest on. This may become a thing, Jerico, where we're going to be Monday through Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking so.
Excellent, excellent. So, welcome to the Summerland Coffee with the Summerland Kids. The main topic we're going to go with today is just kind of an introduction of where we're at and what we hope this show will be. If you didn't catch our previous stories, me and Jerico went to school together. We reconnected. We're working on a comic strip. We're working on a private Summerland group, and we have lots of ideas. I'm still working on my first cup of coffee, Jerico. So
Yeah.
I'm going to just sip some coffee. Why don't you tell everybody, whoever might be watching, kind of your ideas and perspectives of where we're going with this.
Yeah. So Aaron and I, we met in Summerland Elementary School. We both started there, I'm thinking around 1977. And our memories sort of truly connect for me when we were in about fourth grade in Summerland Elementary. And then from there, for sure, by sixth grade, we were the only two boys in our sixth grade class. There was two boys, two girls in our sixth grade class, Summerland Elementary. And Summerland is a little California town right on the beach. My parents were fortunate to find a sort of a fixer-upper house on the beach, bought from an old man. And it was probably, I'm guessing, around $30,000 back then. It was a three-bedroom house. Might have been two originally. My dad did a little addition, made a three-bedroom little house on the beach. They had to get a co-signer because the bank didn't want to lend my dad the money. Plus, it was a major fixer-upper, 6-foot-tall weeds in the yard, et cetera, et cetera. So they pulled in there about 1971. And prior to that, I was living behind the Big Yellow House. And Summerland was originally a spiritualist community. I don't have the name offhand. The man who founded the community and decided, I think the story goes, he was deciding, should I do pig farming or should I do a spiritualist community? So he essentially was sort of an early developer. And I've seen some plot plans of Summerland, and it was all divided into tent lots. And if my memory is correct, it was something like $25 per tent lot. So you could have a little piece of land of your own to put your tent up, and then probably go to some sort of, church-like meetings or something in regards to the spiritualist aspect of the community. As Aaron says, the Summerland was the what is sort of leads to a spiritualist philosophy, if you will. So
yeah, it's strange because that's how I was kind of raised. My mom was like, "Oh yeah, there's a bunch of different churches in the world," and I was really young. I remember her telling me, that you got to find a personal relationship with the God that you understand. And I always thought that when I got a little bit older and could understand the differences between Catholics and Christians, she said we were agnostic. And I always thought she said we are agnostic. So I went down the Gnostic path, not realizing that she meant that as an agnostic, she's not going to disclose or tell you about her God, which is interesting because before she passed, she actually asked me, son, do you believe in God? Is there really a God? And I said, Mom, there has to be. And so I just find that as a trip that, my mom, even though we didn't go to church, somehow led me to a spiritual life.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. We weren't. My grandfather behind me, Bill Woggon, the cartoonist. They came from him and his wife met in church, and I believe they were Presbyterian or Lutheran. I can't remember right now. I think it was Lutheran. So, anyways, they were church family. Grandpa did pretty much church on Sunday style. They didn't like push it on us at all. So my dad, I feel like he arrived in Santa Barbara in 1948 with his family. They did a vote on the beach in probably East Beach down by the palm trees, voting on are we going to move to Santa Barbara, California, or are we going to live in Toledo, Ohio, the original hometown? Thankfully, the family vote was Santa Barbara, California, and that's how he ended up essentially being born in Santa Barbara, was because my granddad and my father and his sister and my grandmother made a vote and said, let's do Santa Barbara. So we ended up there.
Well, I'm sure glad you guys chose Santa Barbara. I never would have gotten to meet you and
Yeah.
hang out. I hope some of the things that happened in Summerland, like you were saying, it was a spiritualist community. I'm the product of a biker dad and a hippie mom. So I was kind of exposed to, I guess you could say, both sides of that coin. And I know before the show, we had talked about some personal things. Um, and I don't mind if you bring it up here. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I just, it was a trip because the house that I lived in, my mom wanted my grandma to co-sign for it. But again, it was back in the interest was super high. I think the piece of property is now a sandwich shop downtown, right across from the Nugget.
Yep.
And I think she was saying that it was maybe $20,000 or $15,000, and it's just weird because of the way generations X, Y, Z, I guess we're millennials,
well, we're Gen
or
X. We're
X.
Gen X.
Yeah. How, that if your family had a piddly $15,000, they could buy a property that could somehow be worth more today. And it just blows my mind, because of some of the things I've been through,
Yeah.
I actually built a people's self-help house right out of high school that's worth probably close to $750,000 now. But I sold it like 2-3 years out of high school because I didn't know no better than to just keep that house.
Wow.
So it's one of those things I always remember back to the beach, the summer days, we would go out there and spearfish and surf, skimboard, hike up and down the beach and bonfire at night and just sleep on the sand.
Yeah. Talk about paradise.
And it was the perfect life.
Exactly. Growing up in paradise is where we came from. Essentially, I think your the house you lived in became Stacky's Seaside, which, like you said, was a sandwich shop had to have been at least 20 years in business there, Stacky's, and it was right across from the Nugget, like you said, and Lucky's Market was right there. But then it was just a little house, it was right on our little town is the 101 freeway splits our little town of Summerland sort of in half or one quarter half. So there's the beach side of the community, which is on the beach side of the freeway. And then there's the town side, which is on the mountain side of the freeway. And there is an abundance of little mountains in our town hills, I guess you call it foothills of Summerland. And that became a playground for us, which behind the little town was a massive amount of, I think it was anise, a bunch of like basically brush that we could play, whether we were playing in the mountains or whether we were playing on the beach. It basically, the whole town to me was a playground. And we were, I think you mentioned before, like free range. Like the kids were free range kids of the 1970s. So we were experiencing those. Now there's some memes out there with the little kid on a bike jumping over his 5 friends on a little ramp. I mean, that was pretty much us. I mean, we were, on the precipice of the BMX bike culture. It sort of, I want to say, developed in our time, where bikes got more sophisticated and more like almost like little motorcycles. We thought they were, at least as kids. Our modes of transportation was skateboards and bicycles, and that's definitely a fun memory for us, because Aaron mentioned, and you can tell us a little more about the riding his bike down to Santa Claus Lane, which is another like magical playland of like a roadside attraction for alongside the freeway, which for us as kids, it gave us a place to like, let's go experience a dream. And that was just a couple miles down the road.
That's, as I got a little bit older, I realized that if you're coming from Santa Barbara or north and you're heading to Ventura or south and you blink, you'll miss the exit to Summerland.
Yeah, exactly.
If you blink again, you'll miss Santa Claus Lane. And it was like the most amazing thing, because I would ride up down on Beach Club Road, go work at my grandma's house. Her and her grandpa had me doing the lawns, and they'd pay me a little money, feed me lunch, and I'd ride my little bike up to the arcade at Santa Claus Lane and dump every quarter I had into that thing. What
games were you playing? Was it pinball? I mean, this has got to be like in 1980, along that line, right? 1980, because I think you and I were both around the same age. So 1980, we were turning 10 years old. Was that about that same time?
Let's see. I remember they had the Pong. First, they had the little Pong thing.
That was a video game, basically, right?
At the gas station in town, in Summerland. Yeah. And then I found out about video games through that.
Okay, cool.
And then I found out through video games, they had the little arcade on Santa Claus Lane. They had a much bigger arcade in Carpinteria, and then they had State Street Theater. You remember when they converted that to they had pinball and like every video game you could imagine.
Yeah, that was called the State Arcade. Yep.
State Arcade.
Yeah, State Arcade. That was an amazing moment.
And so I played them all.
Nice.
I made it a point to play them all. If it was there and I hadn't tried it, I better play it and get at least to the second level.
Classic. That's amazing. Yeah. So our lifetime, it held in it like the emergence of video games and video game culture. It really started with essentially us as the first players, if you will, of the games, and it was just a extremely magical moment for us.
Yeah, and when we're kids, I didn't realize how valuable money was. I mean, because I would go work for my grandma for $5 an hour. So she would, if I worked 2 hours, I'd leave her house with $10. If I worked 4 hours, I'd leave her house with $20. Wow. And if I had just saved that money over the summers, by the time all the jobs I worked through high school, if I would have just saved as much as I could and invested it like Warren Buffett, I'd be a millionaire. But I invested in my fun. I invested in playing video games, and you know what? I'm definitely a multi-billionaire when it comes to having fun experiences.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's freaking amazing, man.
Yeah, it looks like I lost Jericho. He's got the link. He'll pop back in. Oh, there he is. But yeah, we're just told everybody that you dropped off. I don't know if you're there still. But Summerland is just cool, and it's that fun child.
Okay, see you again.
There you are.
Where am I?
And that's why I like these podcasts, because it's like I feel like I'm a kid again.
I can't barely hear you.
And something exciting and hanging out with friends and socializing. I mean, people don't realize how human the social behavior is, and that's what people talk about, like on the Facebook, how it's changed socializing. And I think I lost Jericho.
Trying to click back in here. I can't get back in.
Oh, you're in on audio. Try clicking your camera off.
Maybe it'll pop back up. Let's see.
I hear you. Um,
Technical difficulties.
try
I
clicking your
can't see
camera
you.
on.
I can see you, but you can't see me.
I can't see you, but I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Now we're back.
Excellent. Yeah, I was just kind of going on about how, when we were kids, we would just play, build sandcastles, build tree forts,
All right.
buy video games,
Huh.
and people quit playing.
Frozen.
You're
Why?
here. You're here, bro. I'm gonna text you on
All
Facebook
right,
because
you're
I can hear
live.
you. I can hear you, bro. You're there. This is fun to me. Who cares? It's like when we were kids and get lost exploring the hills.
Can you
Oh,
hear
it's
me?
tragic, but it's fun.
I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh goodness.
This is the reality of what we're in is in the technical sense. Okay, you hear me. That's cool. I can't hear you.
Oh goodness. This is okay. Let's change the
Let's see.
rules. I'll talk for a little bit and then I'll text you and then you can talk. It's all right. I'm AWOL Aaron, so people are used to the most insane things happening on my show or for ins and outs. Yesterday it went perfectly smooth, and today it's not. But that's
Come on.
okay.
There we go. Now maybe we're back.
You're back on
see.
video and audio. I don't know if you can still hear
Why is it
me.
not? Got my volume all the way up. Might have to give you a call. Let me see.
Yeah, give me a call. I
call
got my
ya.
phone. I can
I'll
try
call you on a regular
speakerphone.
line.
I think it works decent. For whatever reason, we're having technical difficulties, which is to be expected. I got Jerico here on speakerphone.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. For some reason, it was glitching out.
Yeah, your box is still open.
Yeah, I just couldn't hear you or see you. So this is just I'm not sure if it's the local cellular network or what the deal is with that.
Hey, that's all right. When we were kids, if something happened, what do? We just picked up where we were at and continued playing.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. I'm on speaker, right? So you got my voice?
Yeah, the bubble is bouncing, and last time I tried this, it did record halfway decent.
Nice. Well, we'll just roll with it then with the speakerphone for now.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So heck yeah. So, Aaron and I didn't speak for not because we didn't want to, because we were just disconnected by, time and space, if you will. 40 plus years. 1983, I think, was probably our sixth grade year, because I know 84, 85, I'm pretty sure I was in Carp Junior High.
Yeah, and I had moved up to the Central Coast, well, further towards the Pismo Beach, the Bugs Bunny destination, the tourist destination, Pismo Beach. Many people have heard of it, in a little county called San Luis Obispo.
Oh, nice.
So
did you go to San Luis Obispo Junior High School? Was that the name of it?
I actually went to 2 junior highs because we were in Morro Bay, and then moved to San Luis Obispo, and so I went to the junior high that was actually in Los Osos.
Oh, nice.
And then I did end up going. It's not San Luis Obispo Junior High. It was by Laguna Lake, and I think they called it Laguna Junior High.
Okay, that's cool. Was it a bunch of? Did you feel that you were in cowboy country at that point, or did it just seem totally you didn't really notice that?
I definitely noticed the culture was a little bit different than the beach culture.
Okay.
There's a what we call Aggies.
Aggies?
Yeah, so the Aggies, the farm kids.
Farm kids, right.
Always wore the boots, always wore the jeans, all had the cowboy hats or the baseball caps.
Okay.
They usually have bigger trucks with a bunch of, different, always having horses or cows to go deal with, pig hunt, a lot of hunting. But then there's definitely a beach culture too, because it's a coastal town. It's on the Central Coast, like Summerland.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean,
it was a way bigger town. I mean, for those out there who don't know how small Summerland is, we had at one point 2 gas stations, but then they got rid of that second gas station. So we're you could say a 1 gas station town, but we were right on the 101 freeway, which is a main artery coming from San Diego, Los Angeles area to San Francisco. Everybody would pass by us on their way to San Francisco from Los Angeles. If they didn't take the 5 freeway from LA, you'd be on the 101. It was the more scenic coastal route. We essentially lived on the coast, right dead nuts on the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the summer days. I remember you from the beach all the time because your house was, excuse me, your house basically overlooked the beach.
Yeah, on the beach. I mean, I could throw a rock at high tide. You could possibly throw a rock into the ocean. And I remember as a kid, my dad had a little old-fashioned gun collection, and we had, of course, the BB gun and a little 22, etc. And you could shoot the buoys from our house, with a gun, essentially.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, because I would ride my little bike or my little skateboard, or sometimes carry the boogie boards down the hill, and it was like a block over, 2 blocks down, and I was at the beach.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could say, in theory, it would be like, probably a 5-minute, 10-minute walk to the beach. It was nothing. It was right there.
No, it was nothing. I remember too, like if I couldn't get a hold of anybody to go do something, I would just go down to the beach, and there'd always be kids down there.
Yep. Yeah. So we were the Summerland kids, and on the little poster we mentioned my brother, Credence Woggon, and he was born August 29th, 1972. So he was a little bit younger because I was born in 1970. And he passed away January 22nd, 2002. And my little brother, he more or less, as I kind of, memory goes back, he had a rough start. He had open heart surgery when he was 2 years old, and then he had a back surgery midpoint, and then he unfortunately got cancer in his early 20s, and he passed, quickly after getting cancer, and it was unfortunate. But he lived, the ultimate, also beach kid life. All of us were very blessed to be born in Summerland and raised in Summerland, and we're very thankful for our community. Although we're learning about our community through stories of friends and ourselves even recalling our childhood.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I used to go back and forth from LA a little bit, and I would always stop in Summerland. There's still a couple of people I know. I'd stop by their house and stop by the beach or stop by Lookout Park, drive by the old abandoned warehouse. Remember that? There was the older kids that made it into like a skateboard park. There was ramps and.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was because Summerland, we also had the train. So we were born and raised with a beach, a train going by, literally like a freight train locomotive, as well as Amtrak. Right through our town. So you hear the train whistle, and you see the big train go by, and you were scared. I mean, it was somewhat scary as a kid, but we embraced it, and we were savvy enough to know that step the hell back. You got to watch out for that train.
Oh, absolutely. I remember my sister showed me, if you're brave enough and you hear the train coming and you put a couple pennies on the track and step back, let the train roll over it, and then you have to try and find where the pennies fell off, but they would be flattened pennies, and it was pretty fun to find them. It would take hours sometimes.
Yeah,
hours. You put like 10 pennies in a row and take like an hour to find one. It was the funnest. It was the funnest, hardest thing I've ever done.
Right. And I don't know if you remember or not, but there was an old man who lived across from Summerland School who used to throw out polished rocks. So after school, we'd rummage through the dirt in front of our school trying to find the polished rocks. Do you remember that or no?
I think my sister would tell me about that.
Yeah. So that was a little moment. We had there was a couple of sweetheart, cool old folks that we in our neighborhood of the school, because essentially all of us more or less walked to school or rode our bikes eventually. But it was like, the smallness of the school. There was it was first through sixth, and there was two classrooms, first, second, third, and the second classroom was fourth, fifth, and sixth. So the great divide, so to speak, between the ages.
Yeah. Oh, that was because I remember in class, the teacher would call the first graders up to her little kidney-shaped desk and teach class from there. Jerico, we're at 25 and 35 seconds. I think we decided a half an hour stream today.
Half hour. Yep.
Excellent. So I guess it's time to wrap it up. If you got any closing thoughts, and since you are the guest host, why don't you do the little exit thing? Tell everybody to like and follow and all that.
Yeah. So we're currently on. We have a little private group called Summerland Book, and we've invited some friends from elementary school to join Summerland Book. And Aaron and I are both working on Summerland Kids, which is essentially a little comic strip about the Summerland kids. And what else? You can find us both on Facebook. I'm at Jerico Woggon on Facebook. I have an Instagram, Jerico101. I'll let Aaron pop in a couple things for himself.
Yeah, right now I'm still organizing my social media.
That's cool.
So
well, you're
you
on
can,
Facebook, so that's good.
Yeah, you can find me. The best way would probably be through some of my pages: Empower the Imagination, Manifestation Game, and the anonymous Griggs comedian. I got a poetry group, everything. But Twitch, and once I get everything set up, all the backlinks and crosslinks will be there. But Twitch at A.W.O.L, single A for Aaron. They wouldn't let me have more than 8 characters. And YouTube, A.W.O.L Aaron.
Yeah, and we'll be sharing our links and whatnot in the below our today's show, our test pilot show. We had some technical difficulties, but we are going to be sharing just the typeface, the words associated with the show when we share it to you guys, so you won't matter, or it doesn't matter. We're trying our best here. We're getting started. So,
hey, it's just me and my friend Jerico from Summerland having coffee and a chat in the morning.
Exactly.
Jerico, you haven't said the name of the podcast yet.
Coffee with the Summerland Kids?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's our tagline, Coffee with the Summerland Kids. Aaron and Jerico.
So then we got 2 minutes. So we're still learning. I don't know if we do have a potential for advertisers. I'm going to advertise Jerico's artwork, his art installations. I don't know if he's too busy right now to take on any projects. Probably is. But eventually I'm sure he'll get back to making more art. And once he gets everything archived in the comic books, there'll be some museum pieces possibly. What are your plans to do once you get it all the comics archived for your grandpa?
I definitely want to get it out to the museums, like basically be able to have a professional person come and look and see what I have and give me some direction. I have a couple ideas for different museums. There's one in San Francisco. There's a new comic book art museum in San Diego associated with the Comic-Con. And then, of course, in Ohio, there's the Billy Ireland Cartoon Art Museum. And I've been in touch with all of them, and I'm just working on getting my grandfather, Bill Woggon, and his brother, Elmer Woggon, and other associates that are in the collection out to museums eventually once I get it sort of archived and organized. And I'm just absorbing it through my head right now in the process of going through it. I'm learning about my grandfather and sharing stories to the Katie Keene fan page.
Excellent. That is so awesome. Yeah. I think we started right on time to the minute. So 30 seconds, 19 seconds. I guess catch some of my other live streams where I do some of my comedy. I've been presenting different interviews, different people. There are slots open. If you want to get on the interview list, I try and do at least one interview a week. I've also been playing around with the AI and playing some AI music, trying to make a little radio show. So tune in, follow, like, and whatnot. Jerico, you got 10 seconds. Let's close it out.
Yeah, so basically we'll be rejoining you on Monday. I think it's 8:15 Mountain Time, 7:15 California time. Coffee with the Summerland kids.
Awesome. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.